Hey David, how are you? Oh, I'm fine, aside from the squid that crawled through my electrical outlet. How is that even possible?
I'm sorry, it's in the electrical?
Yeah, I don't know, but it stole my breakfast. I made cinnamon rolls. That damn squid stole one of my few treats that I get.
David, we should probably focus on the fact that this squid has gotten into the vents, pipes, and apparently can move through the electrical system.
There's a lot of issues with this weird squid thing. It's almost like it doesn't follow the rules of physics, and it is part of a creation of imagination, leading to a writer getting harassed by his own machinations for the purposes of comedy to entertain an unseen audience that sees his stuff, but rarely ever gets anything or subscribe to a channel to follow the story for long periods of time, or like the videos so that the system in place will promote the video to others.
Did you just ask for people to like and subscribe in the most passive-aggressive way imaginable?
Yeah, I think I did. I feel dirty now. I'm gonna take a shower after we talk about our subject for this video.
What are you going to be talking about this week? Another best of the worst or something else?
I think I'm gonna stick with my recent Age of Sigmar hype. Since I just finished assembling my skeletons, I want to talk about the 4 Grand Alliances and how they essentially ally themselves. So, let's talk about Order first. This alliance is essentially equivalent to the Imperium of Man in 40k. It's essentially trying to keep the Mortal Realms in line. What are the Mortal Realms? Well, it's the world of Warhammer Fantasy, essentially being the crossroads of every zone in the setting. Chaos, death, destruction, nature, and more. This faction includes the humans, dwarves, elves, lizards, and trees, and a couple of dragon factions too, but I think the Monsters of Order got combined into various other sub-factions. If you're curious, the Cities of Sigmar are essentially AOS's version of Agents of the Imperium, but not exactly. They're less their own faction and more a mix of other sub-factions, but the Grand Alliance of Order probably has the greatest variation of options. There's sub-factions that are nothing but melee, sub-factions with way too many guns, sub-factions with 1,000 machines, sub-factions that utilize wizards primarily, and another that's got the power of God and anime on their side. Order is a good idea if you're trying to figure out what you like for gameplay, so pick one that you think looks the coolest to start with. Next we go into Chaos. Chaos is kind of the same with the variations that Order has, having wizards, priests, machines, horses, and just dudes. Everything can be corrupted or churned by Chaos. Everything. The sub-factions for Chaos include the obvious Tzeentch, Khorne, Slaanesh, Nurgle, and Be'lakor, but also rats and goats. Now, with Age of Sigmar works, a lot of factions got thrown out, then some come back at a later date. GW is trying to figure out who fits and who they want to support. Chaos Dwarves were a thing for a very short while. Beasts of Chaos got removed but are back on the app. So, who knows with everything. But this Grand Alliance is primarily humans, with some dwarves mixed in and a couple of elves. Skaven are in this alliance, them having turned their queen into a chaos god during the End Times event that brought fantasy into Age of Sigmar. This one has a bit of wildness with it, as there's the major sub-factions, then there's the smaller sub-factions in those sub-factions. For example, the Skaven can be focusing on magic, machine, or horde tactics, and each one is considered a sub-faction. Essentially, each battle formation or detachment equivalent can be looked at as a sub-sub-faction, or you could look at their keywords, as this game is heavy on the keywords. I'll touch into it slightly when we talk about death. Speaking of, let's go into death. Death is fairly obvious. They don't want things to live. Of course, in that, they need things to live, as two of the factions within the Alliance need living things to continue. My Soulblight Gravelords and the Flesh Eater Courts, vampires and zombies respectively. Now, this faction and Destruction both have a unit for each of them that can go across all of their sub-factions. But let's talk about what these guys are. We've got the Osiarch Bone Reapers, which are essentially humanoid zombies who tax the living and the dead for bones to make into their dudes. Though they're very often referred to as the Skeleton Army, their models look more zombie. We've got the Night Haunt, which are lost souls looking for bodies to possess. We've got the Soulblight Gravelords, which are vampires who work primarily with skeleton soldiers for some reason. Then there's the Flesh Eater Courts, which are ghouls and zombies that look a lot like Nosferatu. Death is a lot of confusing with it, but they have big boss among them, called Nagash, Supreme Lord of the Undead, which has a war scroll or datasheet for each death faction. I pointed out the keywords as well, as the Soulblight Gravelords are where I can point this out. Soulblight Gravelords is a death army, and the only battle tome I own for Age of Sigmar. The Skeletons units I have hold the Death Rattle sub-faction keyword, while there's also the zombies with the Deadwalker sub-faction keyword. The Corpse Cart machine can buff up both of these sub-factions, which helps out a lot. Death also has their own manifestations too. All Death factions have their own manifestations, and these are usually things you want to go with. I don't think any other alliance has all their factions get manifestations. I thought Chaos did, but apparently the Nurgle faction doesn't get one for some reason. Last Grand Alliance is Destruction. This also has a supreme leader, Kragnos, the End of Empires. This faction is primarily orcs and orc adjacent, but it also adds in the giant factions too. Some of these factions have sub-factions further in them. These factions also have a wide variety of options. Priests, wizards, ranged, mostly melee or even some root down guys. Bone Splitters are your up close and personal guys. Gloomspites are your magic or ranged. Ogor Maw tribes are your knight adjacent that got some funny stuff. Auroch war clans are your universal orcs using the Ironjaws and Cruel Boys models, who used to be their own unique factions but are now sub-factions of a sub-faction of a sub-faction, and can be brought into other destruction armies. The Sons of Behemoth are also giant faction, which are essentially meant to root down into a location to get the objectives. Destruction is varied in its rules and options, just like Order, but they have two sort of build options: expensive giants or horde armies, so be careful there. Now, I obviously quick and dirtied these grand orders and factions. My descriptions of each one are probably very wrong, as they are just barely surface level. But I'm still learning this game and its lore, so I'm gonna go take that shower and take a nap. Shove off.